Well, hello there, Libra. How are you? It is always so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your time, your loving energy with us all. So, today we're going to celebrate the summer solstice and take a look at what the next 3 months has in store for you. So, let's jump into it. Let's see what is in store for you. Mouse Spirit, tend to the small things. And in the flow, everything is smooth sailing. Okay, so the mouse spirit is the number 40, and 4 plus 0 equals 4. And 4 is all about stability, okay? Trying to find stability in our life. Now, it's kind of interesting. Jupiter has just transited into Cancer. That's actually in your 6th house, and that is very much this mouse spirit. Your 6th house is all about your daily habits, your work routines, the things that you do on a daily basis to keep yourself in good health, whether that is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or also financially, right? It has to do with our work sector also. And this is just a reminder that as we are going through the summer season, to really tend to those things that help you to be at your highest potential, okay? And doing those things every single day, right? Sometimes when things get hectic, we go on vacation or life just starts to happen, perhaps in the summer months while things are, you're more out and about and more playful and energy, that we can sometimes start slipping away from those daily habits or those routines that really help to keep us kind of grounded, right? And headed in the direction that we really and truly want to go in. And with the in the flow, right? It says everything is smooth sailing. It's when you recognize what helps you to perform at your highest level. That is when the flow will happen, right? Allowing yourself to recognize, when we go on vacation, sure, of course, we're going to give up our perhaps daily exercise routine, or maybe, we're going to partake in foods or beverages that we don't normally partake in or take more of those in. But it is about also having that sense of, okay, I'm back from vacation, let's get back into the routine. There's something here because you really and truly are stepping into a new portal, okay? I feel like, we have Lionsgate August 8th. That is such a powerful energy. And right off the bat, we have the present power, right? This is the strength energy, really allowing yourself to stay committed to what it is that you want long term. I feel like there's perhaps a lot happening in your life, and it's pulling you away from staying committed to what you want long term, right? It's kind of like, and I can totally resonate with that, right? You're all set to head out to the gym, or you're all set to eat that healthy dinner, and then suddenly you get a phone call and somebody says, hey, let's go have some fun. And it's really easy sometimes to allow ourselves to go in a different direction because it's just one meal, or it's just skipping one gym routine, right? Allowing yourself to recognize that you could be going, especially within the flow. It seems like things may be speeding up for you. There could be more opportunities to socialize or more opportunities at work. It's allowing yourself to recognize what helps you to stay in balance, because Libra, right, you are the scales of justice. You are that sense of wanting harmony in your life, balance in your life. And I feel like this is a great time for you to really allow yourself to stay committed for what it is. Take a look, right? Because this really takes us till the end of September, this 3-month reading. Allowing yourself to say, what goals am I trying to set for myself? Maybe really super long term, but especially for September, the end of September. What growth would you like? What progress would you like? What direction do you want to be headed in September, right? And allowing yourself to really visualize, stay focused, stay committed to what it is that you want. Because I feel like there's just perhaps a lot of distractions, perhaps a lot of travel on your calendar, or opportunities to take quick visits. Okay, so yes, here is the energy that you have. You have the Hierophant, you have the Strength card, believing that you have the strength, the willpower, the commitment, right, to there's the Hierophant and the Strength card. The Hierophant is really about knowing your direction, believing that you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve, but also knowing it's going to take some strength. It's going to take a little willpower, a sense of commitment to what it is that you want long term. And you have the door to personal healing and happiness. See, this is the energy that I have here for you for September. It's kind of like you're allowing yourself to move in a new direction, a much more healed, a much more happy direction. But it does mean there is a little bit of a sense, because you have never ending story, kind of like that. Perhaps you start that new nutritional plan, right, on Monday, and by Wednesday you've given it up, right? And allowing yourself to say, okay, what gets me out of the healthy routines that are so important to me to be able, right, to have life flow easily for me. Because with Jupiter in Cancer, it is a great opportunity. Jupiter brings blessings, and it's in your 6th house. So this is a sense of wellness, of daily routines, right? Jupiter is going to bring you blessings, but it also means that there are going to perhaps be obstacles on your path. And I don't feel like they're like major obstacles. I think it's just allowing yourself to stay balanced, allowing yourself to recommit on a daily basis to where you want to be in September. And it's not that you can't have any fun. It's not that you can't have that cheat day or whatever, but it's allowing yourself to say, what brings me back to the point where I feel like I'm having to start over again and again, and recognizing that there is a pattern here, a pattern that is sabotaging, a pattern, either a mindset or a behavior that you have that is helping you, that you're recognizing at this time over these summer months. Yeah, this is something I feel like, wow, and it could have to do with romance. I am going to say you have the 2 of Cups here, and we also have Loyal Heart here at the end. I feel like there is something about you have your life on track for what it is that you truly desire, and then in comes the Knight of Cups, right? Allowing yourself to recognize that you can stay committed to what it is that your heart truly desires, okay? That you don't have to, I remember, like, when I was in high school or college, you'd have your group of gal pals. I'd have my group of gal pals, and then somebody would start dating somebody new, and then we wouldn't see them, right? And they'd be off with the new boyfriend for, a month or so, and then when things went sideways with the boyfriend, then they'd be back into the group, right? It's kind of like recognizing, okay, that we have to allow ourselves to have that balance in life. Whether there's a new romance on the horizon, or a new opportunity at work, or an opportunity, I will have to say, to travel, it's allowing yourself to recognize, I still have to be true to myself. It's not about throwing the nutritional plan away, right? Perhaps you're a vegetarian, and then all of a sudden you start dating a meat lover. And it's kind of like, okay, are you, being a vegetarian or vegan, is that important to you for a specific reason? Understanding your why can also help you to navigate, to be flexible, to compromise, right? But not to give up on your core values. There's something here about allowing yourself to recognize how you do want connections with other people, whether that is friends or romantic or family or your co-workers, right? That you have to allow yourself to be true to yourself, so that you can achieve, you can be your highest potential, you can go in the direction that your heart is desiring, and yet at the same time enjoy the journey. Have those relationships that are really and truly important to you, because here you have the truth. You're understanding that perhaps in the past you have been such a people pleaser that when a new friend comes onto the scene or a new romantic partner comes onto the scene, suddenly you give up everything that is true for you as far as those small things that help you to be your highest potential. Yeah, this is, throwing away the sleep schedule or throwing away the spiritual routines that keep you grounded. This is you understanding, I'm not doing that. And I feel like this is almost like Spirit coming in and saying, you have this opportunity, perhaps a romantic partner coming onto the scene or a good friend, somebody that is you're going to want to spend time with, and yet at the same time may not necessarily be completely in alignment with those daily routines that are good, that you have determined are good for you. And that's okay. Understanding we are all very different, right? It's helping you to have a different perspective of why your daily routines are important to you. And trying to find that compromise of time and energy and effort and love and companionship, and yet at the same time being able to be true to who you are. Yes, because I feel like your biggest obstacle is, for some of you, you may even be traveling to see family. You may be even wanting to move. There's this energy of, I don't know if I can do it. Spirit is calling you. It's time to allow yourself. I feel like part of it is that you have confined yourself. You could be even a little bit in a hermit energy, or a little bit, I don't want to say antisocial. It's not that energy. It's just kind of like staying more to yourself. You could be going out, but maybe with the same people all the time or something like that. There's this energy of wanting expansion in your relationships, and yet at the same time kind of denying yourself that, because it's kind of like, well, they have to be just like me, or they have to be completely on board with all of my quirky daily routines, right? Or my eating, my nutritional plan, my exercise regime, right? Allowing yourself to not I think there's a little bit of energy here where you could be kind of like pulling away and saying no to perhaps potential romantic partners or friends, because you feel like they don't understand you. Okay, that's your perception. It's about understanding. Yes, it's all in your head. It's all in your head, Libra. So it's kind of like you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? It's allowing yourself to recognize you have the Eight of Swords twice. This is your own self-doubt that is holding you back, okay? So it's kind of like, let's have this scenario. You have a good friend that says, hey, maybe you've been single for a while, you're looking to start dating again, and you have a friend that says, hey, I have somebody that I think you would really and truly get along with. You guys would just hit it off, right? And you say, okay, well, maybe you're a vegetarian, and you say, well, are they a vegetarian? And well, no, they eat meat. They enjoy meat. And it's kind of like, well, then they're not for me, right? Kind of like understanding, having a little bit more openness, I think is the word, openness to what it is, that you are willing to have conversations with people, because one of the things is that you feel as though unless somebody completely gets you or is completely the same as you, right? Three of Pentacles. They have to be exactly like me. If they're not exactly like me, then it's kind of like, then it's not going to work. But this is Spirit saying, no, we can actually grow when we allow ourselves to be in the present, to have relationships with people that aren't exactly like us. Now, I'm not talking about people that are toxic, right? That's different. But people that maybe have different core values than ours, similar enough that we have something in common, but we may also have some daily routines that are a little bit different than each other. And allowing yourself to recognize that there is something you can gain from a relationship like that. Sometimes it helps us to see a different perspective of life, right? Sometimes we can help them to be more open and see a different perspective of life. There's something here to be learned. And what you're understanding is that you're kind of like holding yourself back from really experiencing connections in your life, right? Because it's a little bit like they have to be just like me. And I'm going to say, Libra, I feel like a lot of this is because you've been really hurt in the past, right? So you've been hurt because maybe you were ostracized because you were a little bit different, or you felt like you had to be the one that overly compromised in order to keep a relationship going. This is you being more embracing, okay? Truly embracing who you are, being loyal to yourself, but also understanding that you can be loyal to someone else without giving up who you really and truly are. And I feel like this could really be a reading for those of you that have been single for a long time, or have felt like you haven't had a soul tribe in a long time. Maybe you're kind of separated from family, or you've had falling out with friends or romantic partners. You've felt like you've had to go it alone for a while. And not to worry, that was part of your healing process, so that you could really and truly go within and know who you are. This is you understanding, I don't have to change who I am. I don't have to be inauthentic to myself. I can stay committed to who I am, and yet at the same time be in relationships with people who are a little bit different than me, right? It's kind of like allowing yourself, these doors are closed. It's kind of like, okay, who else is out there, right? Understanding that you could be coming in contact with someone who really and truly has your back in the things that matter, right? It's once again, the energy of what really matters to you. What are the 3, 4, 5 core values that are really important to you in a relationship? What are you looking for in that person? And understanding that the rest of it is perhaps something that you can be a little bit more flexible about. Allowing yourself to say what's really important: honesty, integrity, truthfulness, companionship, emotional support. Allowing yourself to recognize that those are the things that help you to go the distance in a relationship. It's maybe not necessarily, right? The foods that somebody eats, right? Or their sleep habits, or whatever it is. It's like allowing yourself to step out of the box. It's kind of like allowing yourself to get out of the cage of thinking people have to be just like me, or I can't be friends with them, or a romantic partner, or work with them, right? It's allowing yourself to recognize that you maybe had to go within the cage for a little bit in order to figure out who you really are, what really matters to you, right? And now you're willing to take that big step out of the cage. If you notice, the angel is looking down, but the top of the cage is open. The angel could literally stand up and step out of that cage. That is what you are being asked to do, is to not feel like you have to be right or somebody else has to be right. That there is this energy where you don't have to compete with other people, try to prove that you're right. It's just you knowing that what works for you, right? And also being open-minded enough to understand that what works for other people is what works for them. They don't have to be exactly like you. And you definitely, Libra, do not have to be exactly like them, right? It's allowing yourselves to find that balance within a relationship, that sense of harmony within a relationship. Because there are core values that are similar, that are very aligned. Some of the other things may not be quite so similar, but understanding that when we have an open mind, we can have a definite relationship, a loyal, a committed relationship with somebody, even though they may have some aspects of life that are different than ours. Yeah, really beautiful energy here of allowing yourself to recognize how you may be, especially if you feel like you've been a hermit for a while. That was in order to heal. That was in order to figure out who you are, what's really true for you. Now that you have that wisdom, now that you really and truly are in tune with who you are and what it is that you want for yourself, it is time to allow yourself to start reconnecting, having those connections with other people, and not fearing that if they're different, that they will reject you or abandon you, right? Allowing yourself to say, it's okay, I'm good with who I am. And I'm also open to understanding that people can be different from me and we can still have a true connection, a committed connection to each other. All right, let's pull a soul truth card for you. And Libra, I do personal readings, so if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. Am I in my head or my heart? Yes. When we're in our head, this is very much being in your head, analyzing a situation or a person, right? Instead of being in our heart and asking ourselves, what is it that is drawing me to this person, right? Opening our heart and seeing optimism, right? Seeing the true connection, what you have that is in alignment with each other, right? Instead of looking at the differences, instead of focusing on the differences, it's about aligning yourselves to what it is that you really and truly enjoy about somebody else. Yeah. I mean, once again, we're not talking about toxic relationships here, right? We're talking about allowing ourselves to really focus in on what we like about another person, right? What is it that is the connection? What is it that you have in common, right? Not focusing on what you don't have in common. Wow, powerful energy. All right, Libra, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for being here and for all your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I hope to see you again really soon. Much love and light. Bye for now.